So I've been gone for a while, like a really long time. But in my absence, I fell in love. I fell in love with a game that sparks the same feeling of happiness that I've only felt during my early childhood. And that game is One Step from Eden, a game created by Thomas Moon Kang. And this game is a love letter to Megaman Battle Network's unique gameplay style. It is a real-time action deck building strategy game with roguelike elements and is very, very fast-paced. Like most roguelike games, the whole goal is to get to the end of the gauntlet and survive till you drop. Now, what makes One Step from Eden feel special is how it sort of takes many different aspects of other roguelike games and blends them together into this one beautiful dish. Combat in this game is very much like Megaman Battle Network, where you use chips, or in this sense, cards, to attack enemies. But unlike in Megaman Battle Network, you always have your cards with you on hand. It's not like how in Battle Network you get to slow down the pace of the game to pick and choose your chips. In One Step from Eden, the only thing stopping you from unloading hell on your enemies is this little bar on the bottom. This is your mana gauge, and each card needs mana to use it. So you sort of have to learn when it's time for you to go in and attack the enemy, and when it's time to stop, take it slow, and recover your mana. The amount of mana each card uses also plays a strategy on whether it's best to use this card at the same time. Do I use this level 5 mana card and explode the enemy, or do I use these 2 or 3 lower level mana cards to try and chip away at the enemy or try and synergize something? I always try to go for burst builds where I unload literally everything I've got into enemies, because this game sort of gets to a point where the enemies will overload you with attacks and it's almost impossible for you to dodge. Plus, if you get a bad hand or given a situation where you can't use the card on the queue or you can't use any card, you can always just throw your entire current setup, your current queue, and just toss it away and reload your deck. But unfortunately, you sort of have to wait for the reload to happen, and you're kind of left vulnerable during that time, but you have an option. Deck building is also an interesting mechanic to me. Every time you win a fight, you get to choose one of 3 cards to put into your deck, which really makes you think, do you want to focus on deck synergy or do you want a deck filled with strong cards? To dive into the concept of deck synergy even more, at any time during the game, you can press the deck button and you get to choose a certain brand of deck companies, I think that's what they are, and cards of that brand will be more likely to show up in your runs. I always either try to base my deck off the character that I'm playing, or I will try my best to base my deck with 2 companies that I think will work together. Another thing that adds a layer to the game is artifacts. Whenever you pick up an artifact, you have to think about how it will affect your deck and your playstyle. These artifacts can do a lot of different things. You know, you have an artifact that'll heal you, an artifact that'll give you more defense, an artifact that stops time whenever you reload, an artifact that makes you pray for an actual miracle to happen. Artifacts are something that you can even somewhat plan for. Every time you level up in a run, you get to choose an artifact. Every time you save a hostage, there's a chance that the hostage will give you an artifact. Or you can even find artifacts by going to these specific points on the map. Artifacts are usually something that I always pick up without really thinking, because there's almost no real downside to picking up artifacts. The artifacts I mainly go after are the ones that increase mana regen speed. My favorite one is the mana bottle one and the one that gives you full mana when you start off. I think it's called Blue Blood. The mana bottle lets you get 3 mana slots back whenever you kill an enemy, and the Blue Blood lets you start off with a full mana set. So you have that full mana, you do your burst damage, kill some enemies, and then the mana refills back faster. The faster the mana refills, the more burst damage you can lay down on enemies, and the faster they die, the faster I get to move forward in the map. Speaking of the map, after every battle you get to choose your path to the boss. Sort of like a choose your own adventure game, and I really love this aspect of the game. I've played a decent amount of roguelikes, but most of the ones that I play always make you move from one area to another without much player choice. In One Step from Eden, you somewhat have a choice where you get to go next and what you get to face next. Do you go to the distress call and save a hostage, possibly getting an artifact for your troubles or some heals? Or do you go to the chest so you can get an artifact easier? Or do I take the path to happiness and visit the shopkeeper? God, I love her. It's that freedom to choose choose your path that makes every run in this game feel fresh and different. At the end of every level is a boss. These bosses start off nice and easy but slowly become so fast paced and frantic that they truly test your ability to make so many decisions in a short amount of time that really gets your blood pumping and the adrenaline kicking. Though sometimes the best plan of action during some of these boss fights is just try and mow them down before they mow you down. Well, at least that's my personal preferred strategy. My favorite boss to fight is Violet because she has an interesting mechanic where you have to sort of dance to her song to dodge the incoming attack. When you beat the boss, you are given an option to kill or spare them. Killing them grants you a rare artifact and sparing them lets them come along with you on the adventure. And they sort of either give you a buff at the start of the match or they sort of assist you with something. Personally, I spare the bosses all the time because I prefer getting the assists over the artifact. I even have my own little theory that you're not really supposed to kill the bosses because there is some sad music that plays when you kill them, but again, that's just like my headcanon. Every time your run ends, and your run will end, your account sort of levels up and you unlock different artifacts, cards, and characters so you can use in later runs. You can even unlock characters by beating them after the 4th stage, except for one character, my love, the shopkeeper. To unlock her, you gotta beat her like everyone else, but you can really just do it at any time in the run. But be careful because she is... Whoa, what the fuck? Oh my... Shit! I'm alive, you stupid ass. Ah, fuck. Kind of difficult. It's best to take advantage of her in the beginning where her health pool is low, but the problem with that is that you sort of don't have much cards to burst at her. Each character brings a different playstyle that's kind of refreshing with different starting loadouts, different abilities. For instance, the gunner has a starting deck that is mainly about setups, and his gun uses mana to shoot, but if you hit an enemy you get more mana back than you use to shoot. Reva is all about building up your shield and reflecting your enemy's attacks back at them. And the shopkeeper, I think, has the most interesting mechanic out of everyone in the game. You see, she can access everything in the shop for free. And then in order to get more stuff in the shop after you clear out, you just use money to restock the shop and you can get it all for free. But the problem is that her health is tied to how much money she has. So she is kind of perfect for experimenting with new cards and new artifacts because you can do it for free. But again, restocking your shop costs money, and money is equal to your life. Using your default attack costs money, and again, money is your life. Shopkeeper lives and dies by her money amount, truly embodying the phrase, get rich quick or die trying. At the end of every route is Eden. Waiting for you is a boss fight that will put everything, and I mean everything, you've got to the test. You either fight the Gate, Terrible, or Seraph. Who you fight really depends on your actions with the other bosses. If you go a neutral route, which is killing some bosses while saving others, you fight the Gate. If you spare everyone, you fight Terrible. And if you kill everyone, you fight Seraph. And I think Seraph is like the most interesting boss fight because she plays by her own rules, in which she erases everything. The board is 100% free, you can move everywhere. Now, depending on your actions during the boss fight, you either A, restart your run on a harder difficulty, or B, get an ending. Now, I love this game. I love it, I truly do. But I do have some personal issues with it. For starters, I wish that this game mode could have a little bit of a story mode, or something that fleshes out the characters in the world, like just a little bit. Like, why do we want to get into Eden so badly? Another thing that I would like in this game is maybe another game mode, or a custom run game mode, where you get to pick your character and create your own starting loadout using a point system similar to like Call of Duty. Something to change up the style and the flavor of the game, like just a little bit, because like the game is delicious. But the gameplay is so solid and addicting on its own. Between deck building, character selection, and the choose your own adventure aspect of it all, you'll be going back to this game and doing run after run after run after run. Then before you know it, you're gonna be playing the game, mastering it, and getting better that you'll go from 1 mile to 1 leap to 1 skip till finally you're 1 step from Eden. Thank you everybody for watching. I know it's been a long time. As always, if you liked the video, then like the video. If you disliked it, then disliked it. And if you like my voice and my opinions and you want to support me, then hey, hit that subscribe button. We're almost to 100 subs, which I know is such a small number, but it's a starting point, and I would really love to get into 100 subs. As always, stay safe everyone, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.